DDP, what's going on, pal? How you doing? Sit down.
I set my alarm clock because I've been running all week, and I set my alarm clock for 8:45 p.m.
So you just woke up?
I woke up at like 8:49. I was like, why did it go off? I'm staying over at the Omni, so it was a quick jolt over. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you panic when you sleep through an alarm?
Yeah, absolutely. Because first of all, you know, I don't sleep well anyway. I'm up and down because my mind won't shut off. I got too many things going on right now.
Can you drink caffeine late in the day?
You know, that doesn't really affect me. Caffeine is not.
Jim is convinced. Tell me this, DDP. You know a lot about the body.
Sure.
And I mean, part of DDP yoga is about nutrition. You know,
Right.
Jim thinks that he has caffeine addiction because when he doesn't drink coffee, it gives him headaches.
Sure.
But
Wait a minute. That's.
but at the same time,
Don't interrupt him when he's siding with me.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
at the same time, he also thinks that he's so sensitive to caffeine that if he drinks 1 cup of coffee at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he won't be able to
It might
sleep.
be able to keep me up. Might keep me up, yeah.
I would find that hard to believe. But then again, if you go to sleep at 6 o'clock at night, I know you guys got an early show here, so I don't know what time you go to bed. But you know, when it comes down, when my buddy Marlon stopped drinking coffee, he had 10 days of extreme headaches.
Yeah.
And by the 10th one, he was like, "Dude, when are these headaches going to stop?" I said, "I don't know. How much coffee have you drank?" You know, it's an addiction, just like anything else.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it would have actually kept me up. It may or may not have, but I want to chance it.
Probably not. It's your little brain. Your little brain going crazy, going like, no, I think it's going to keep me up. I think it's going to keep me up. And that's...
It might have, but I wound up getting to sleep on time, so I wound up doing the right move.
DDP does. He stays up all night because he's productive. He's got 100 different operations going on all at the same time.
Yeah, well, for me, I don't want to start any dialogue in my head if I start to wake up, because then I'll go right to that,
Right.
instead of going back to sleep. You know?
Right. But don't you have to sleep?
Like, you have to.
Right?
Have
Isn't that part of nutrition and all that?
And living, you got to sleep.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up, Jim.
There's times like over this loop, I've been really crazy busy because I went to go see my sister because they were filming my sister, my mom, my wife, and my best friend Gary Rossi. They were filming her and my buddy at my sister's house. And matter of fact, my buddy Paul Smith, my brother-in-law, is actually, I'm sure, listening to this show right now. He's big fans of you guys. But we went there because WWE came in and they're doing my documentary part of the triple DVD series that'll be out in March.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really cool because
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, everyone always says, when are they going to do a DVD series on you? When they're ready.
Yeah.
You know, when it happens, you know. So for me, going back home down Point Pleasant, New Jersey, and going to the park, you know, or to play basketball, because that's where I learned work ethic.
Yeah.
You know, all the little things that the biography part is going to be called, their choice of this, positively living.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm a pretty positive guy. I did a book called Positively Page. Matter of fact, another thing I'm up here for today, I got there's 2 big publishers. I think one's called Rodale or something like that, and the other one's Simon & Schuster. I got meetings with both of them about my inspirational book, Own Your Life, that I've been working on for about the last 6 months, in between everything else.
Do you have anybody you're writing it with, or are you just doing it yourself?
Dude, I grew up with ADD and dyslexia. I was reading at a 3rd grade level at the age of 30. So I will definitely have someone helping me, you know, with especially part of the structure and everything.
What fucks you up more, the ADD or the dyslexia?
Well, I started to learn how to read at 30. So
You started to read at 30?
31, actually. That's when I made a decision. I mean, I was reading at 3rd grade level. I'm not kidding. And it was, you know, I didn't know what ADD or dyslexia was. No one knew what that was.
Did they
when I
call
was a
you
kid.
stupid in school?
Well, yeah, that's, you know, not me, but they didn't call me that. But, but they thought we were,
Right.
you know, and I knew I was really smart, but at the same time, that reading thing didn't work for me. So I had to, like, cheat my way through school. Like, I graduated like 299th out of 299. You know? But at 31, I made the decision to start to learn how to read. And what I did was if you don't change your circumstance, when you're going to do DDP yoga or you're going to do any fitness program, if you don't change your circumstance, the way you live in some way, you might start and go for a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, but then, yeah, sort of life gets in the way.
Right.
And for me, it's the same thing about reading. And I always say, just don't think it, ink it. And I put read today everywhere all over my house. And I set a goal for myself that I was going to read a book.
Oh, so you literally have it written down all over the
But
place.
if you're seeing it, but if you're seeing it backwards, it's today, dear.
So that's how it started. And that's how the journey started. I set a goal that I was going to read a book from cover to cover, and I finally did that for the first time ever. And
when did you do that? You did that in your 30s for the first time?
31.
What book was it?
It was Lee Iacocca's autobiography.
Interesting one to pick. That's a fucking pretty big undertaking.
Well, think about who that guy was. I mean, he should have been. He was. They were trying to get him to be the president, and then when they got there, and he said, "No, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. I'm going to do what I want to do."
So since reading came like late, and you're like, you actually like value it.
Oh yeah.
You don't waste your time with any of the Harry Potter bullshit, do you?
No.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Stupid.
Well, to me, my nieces they read that stuff.
Right, little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Adrian likes it. He's in his 20s. He's an adult man, and he's reading Harry Potter still.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that I'll read, I'll read some stuff. It's stuff that's going to help me. That's what I read. Stuff that's going to inspire me or motivate me.
Let me ask you, when you got dyslexia and you're reading a book, what is one of the tricks to stop you from like fucking up the words? Like, what do you have to do when you're reading? Like, okay, how do you make yourself get through a page?
Well, I went to the Eris Learning Center at 47 years old in Culver City, California, and I had a 85-year-old woman. Her name was Rose. And they do all these different things to like help you program your brain. Like, I'll give you an example. They might put 4 cards, and they might have like splotch marks on them. And you look at them, then they turn them over, shift them all up, and then now put them back in that order. It was things like little tricks that they did like that. But for reading, it's just about repetition. And I practice reading out loud all the time because there's points like you saw the induction of Jake the Snake Roberts 2 years ago.
Yeah, of course.
I had written what I wanted to say because I wanted to have it in blocks, but you would never know it because I made it like a prompter. And right before, like 2 hours before I went out, Triple H walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, D, I love what you got going there." He goes, "But maybe this is a little bit too dark over here. Maybe you'll give them a little light over there." So 2 hours before I'm about to go out, I had to change stuff.
And then for you, that might as well be 30 seconds before you go out because you've been practicing. The last thing you need to do is get in front of an arena full of wrestling fans and be the guy who can't read.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I've been that kid. I was that kid all my life.
So it's like doing a book report, but in front of 15,000 people.
Right.
Right.
And but I just hit it really hard. And before I go out there, before you go in the ring, like you guys today don't even think about this today, but when you first started in radio, you were nervous as hell. When you first started, but you were going, "Oh God, I hope I don't fuck up, hope I don't fuck up, hope I don't fuck up." You're going, "I'm going to nail this. It's going to be great. I'm going to show. I'm prepared." You've got to fill yourself with positive energy, positive conversation. I always talk about, the story we tell ourselves. The biggest reason I could help turn Jake and Scott around was because
Jake the Snake and Scott Hall. Yeah.
Jake the Snake, the resurrection of Jake the Snake. By the way, second highest rated sports doc on Netflix.
Really?
Number 1 highest rated biopic.
Really?
Yes. That's a
There's a lot of sports documentaries on Netflix, like all the 30 for 30s. Yeah.
A lot of great. Matter of fact, the guys from 30 for 30 right now, we're talking because they saw the movie, and I have this idea for a show, and that we just reached out and they pulled me in. I met with a couple different production companies, but that one, those guys are so authentic that now we're going through the contracts, and I hope we come to we all are happy with it.
Is it a wrestling thing?
No, not at all. It's more about I wouldn't say it's an addiction house or anything like that. To me, I explain to them, like a lot of production companies, can you do this in 8 weeks? Can you do this in 12 weeks? No. It's like a year, to really make an impact. But the real impact that I teach, and I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. I have been for 30 years because I couldn't read Tony's books, but I could listen to his little cassette tapes, 32 years ago. And they really helped guide me in a lot of different places. And one of the things that I've always said, and then I just heard him say it at a conference about 1 year ago, was about the story you tell yourself. Like that instant, a little dialogue going on in your head. Before Jake the Snake Roberts or Razor Ramon walked through that curtain, they weren't going, oh my God, I hope I don't blow this. I hope I don't fuck this up. I hope I don't suck tonight. They were thinking, I'm the king of the world. I'm going out there and I'm going to steal the show. This is going to blow the roof off. I said, why can't you say that to yourself when you're out of the ring? Why can't you start
just apply it to literally everything you do?
Everything.
Yes.
The only scary thing about that, and this is where I've always given myself negative messages before I go on stage, is because if, like, for me, if I give myself a positive message, this is going to be fucking amazing, and then the first joke bombs, I'm like, oh no.
I was wrong.
Oh no.
But you see, that negative talk as a comedian can work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only place.
You make it work. It might be the only place it works.
Right, yeah, the positive talk would be like, I'm going to make this fucking work, and even if it doesn't work, I'll still be able to make it work.
Right.
That's what you say, Jim. That's the positivity. Not like, oh, this might suck.
I probably shouldn't vocalize that to the audience. That's what I've been going wrong. I've been going out and going, look, this is probably not going to be very good. Trying to lower their expectations.
I guarantee you get a huge laugh out of that.
Yeah, that would.
So were you like a late, like when you're a young guy in your teens and 20s, are you still motivated to do things? Because it seems like everything, a lot in your life anyway, started late, whether it's, reading in your 30s or wrestling didn't start until like even after that. What are you doing in your teens and 20s?
Well, you put everything into sports.
Yeah.
At least I did, because it ain't going to work with the studies. So at 12 years old, I was pretty damn good football player. And
what position?
Defensive end and center. Play both ways. Pop Warner. But we had a pretty good group of guys at that time. And I mean, to me, no doubt in my mind, I was going to play defensive end for the New York Giants. I mean, that's my mindset. I'm 12.
Right.
And I played hockey. And I made this team that was 14 and 15-year-olds. I was 12. That next day, I walked out in front of a car, hit my right knee, my face bounced off the hood, and I flew 42 feet from point of impact.
Wow.
And no more football, no more hockey. I begged my mom to take me to see Dr. Nicholas. Up here, he was the New York Jets doctor at the time. He had worked on Willis Reed, and he worked on Joe Namath.
So you're like an obsessive fan that knew all that stuff.
Well, I guess I must have, because that's how I found him. And I begged my mom. And, she's a single mom, and I'm living with my grandmother. I begged her to take me to see him because he could fix my knee. And you know what he told me? You're never going to be Joe Namath. You're never going to be Willis Reed. He literally said that to me. He said, you need your knee's pretty screwed up. He's like, I can't really do anything with it where it's at right now. And, you need to work on your studies.
They tried to tell that to Booby Miles, and he fucking freaked out on the doctor.
Who's really? Booby Miles?
You ever seen Friday Night Lights?
No. Oh, right.
Yeah. I watched that yesterday.
Oh. Not just that movie, but that series.
And the series is great.
Unbelievable.
I named my dog Lila Garrity.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I love that.
Is she from that series?
She is.
She's smoking.
She is. Yeah. She's ridiculous. She's the blonde on it. But, so, you get to the doctor, and he's like, you're not going to play football, dude.
All right. I was pretty depressed. I call that emotional gravity.
Do you think you were as fucked up as he said, or was he just trying to guide a young guy into his studies?
Well, I don't think he's trying to guide me into my studies. I guess he didn't think I was going to be a Diamond Dallas Page.
Right. Right.
It was the first time that someone told me what I couldn't do, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. If I can't do that, I'll do something else.
Right.
And I always loved it. For my whole beginning of my youth and in my career, I was trying to prove everybody wrong. Today, I try to prove myself right. Again, the message you said yourself, and...
Oh, I see. So, because proving yourself wrong is coming from that negative perspective on things.
Right.
Because now you're listening to the people that are like, you're going to maybe be a manager in wrestling, but you're too old, you can't start now, blah, blah, blah. Instead of focusing on that, you're focusing on no, I think I can, so I just focus on this.
Well, when I walk into the studio every morning, I give the message of, let's think of what we can do instead of what people tell us we can't do.
You do?
Yes.
I watched how you handled Nancy Grace. And I thought you were very graceful.
Yeah.
You were classy. Unlike you saw what she was so nice to me right before the camera went on. Like, I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome.
Right.
Because she was so nice. I took a picture of her head to diamond, cut her everything. But I didn't know what
Before the show.
Before the show.
What'd you think of her after the show?
I wanted to kill her.
Did you?
did,
think
right?
she
I
was
wanted
nice?
to choke her out. My wife looked at me and went, like, she's shaking her head like, no, because I was so pissed.
How far into the interview did you realize, ugh?
Oh, pretty quickly. As soon as this steroid, she just started talking. She started talking about the steroid scandals and blah, blah, blah. Like, wait a minute, that was 25 years ago.
Right. DDP was on the show where she was talking about the Ultimate Warrior's death. That's what we confronted her on the show.
You did. I didn't know any of this stuff. Sam knew all of it.
And she brought up, like, she's, like, listing the wrestlers that have died, and she puts, like, Owen Hart, who died, in the ring, and like, all guys who died of gunshot wounds, and just stuff that had nothing to do.
And lumping it all in with that.
Exactly.
And think about his kids and wife at that time.
Right.
What the, like, I wondered, like, because they are the nicest people. And for Warrior to come back, and I was just so happy that everything was fixed before any of that happened so he could be put in the spot that he deserved to be in.
Right.
And, I thought we were going to talk about, the time, like, imagine this. It's WrestleMania 6. I'm the driver for the honky tonk man in a pink Cadillac. Like, the car, my pink Cadillac convertible got the gig, not me.
So that's how you got the gig as the driver, because you had a pink car.
Exactly. Wow. It was Luke the Bushwhacker's good buddy of mine. He came by my club and he saw the, the convertible. And he's like, dude, I think I can get you at Mania. I'm like, seriously? I just want to go.
Right.
And I'm already Diamond Dallas Page, but for this day, I'm going to be Diamond Dallas chauffeur.
What kind of club was it?
The club I had was a dance club.
Oh, strip club.
No.
Okay,
No, I mean like dancing.
Oh, okay.
Partying. If I would have grown up in the strip club business, I would have been so fucked. Yeah. I'm so glad. I'm like sad and glad at the same time. But at that Mania, Hogan and Warrior are the main event.
Right.
So now let's go 8 years later, and now I'm the main event with Goldberg, and I'm sharing it with Warrior and Hogan with WCW. So when Warrior comes in, like, he calls for, he has someone get me and Goldberg. And we go to see him, and he was so cool. He was so gracious. And he goes, I want you guys to know, you're the reason why I'm doing this. I see you guys having so much fun. I wanted to be part of the fun again.
Wow.
Like, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Nancy Grace.
And Warrior's the guy who at the time was bitter about the business. So the fact that he saw that it was fun again.
Yes.
He was like, I want to go back and have a good time. Like, he liked it.
And he, because he loved it growing up and the whole deal. But, that we were a part of helping him want to do that. Like, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Is that what they brought you in saying that you were going to talk about?
You know how they always, they tell you one thing and you assume because of what happened, they're going to have some memories of the Warrior that I didn't really think. As soon as she started, I thought, oh my God, dude, you're on TV with Nancy Grace now, like the killer.
Yeah.
So she can be a sweetheart. You've seen her be that too.
Right.
I thought that was one of these things, especially when she was a fan.
Well, they say she's a pig in sheep's clothing.
It's a lot of wool.
That was stiff. I would say that.
Yeah. I mean, look, she went on like The View and all the shows after she did our show and acted like this sweet lady was the victim of everything. Like, she was just bombarded. She walked in here, and Jim and I just completely just...
Did she talk about it?
Oh, yeah, she was...
Self-high five!
Yes.
What a baby she was, though. What a baby.
She went on The View, and she called us Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
It's the best.
All bullies, no matter what, they can't take being bullied.
Right.
And you weren't even bullying. You were just asking for some facts.
Like, let me call you on your shit.
Yeah, right. So all we're doing. You were both... Like, I was like, wow, these guys are really doing this nicely. Yeah. But, she knew right away, oh, my God, they're doing to me what I do to people.
For a real griller in interviews, she fucking collapsed fast. Like, she looked like she was willing to fight. Like, she's definitely ferocious. But then she just ends the interview and leaves. It was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and you're on TV, so you can't exactly, when you're on her show, you can't.
That's what I'm thinking,
right.
Sam. I'm thinking if I get up and walk away, I'm going to embarrass the business.
Right, because it makes it look like you are on drugs and won't tell anybody about it.
Right.
So you can't.
I'm just breathing and saying, and I remember talking about it because And I said it then. I've said it numerous times. WWE has the highest standard of policy, like for drugs and everything, like because so many guys have gone down, you know, over the years. They have the strictest policy, way stricter than the NFL,
right,
or the MLB, like way stricter. You got some painkiller in you somewhere. You better have like the exact reasons, the doctor, everything, and they're just the guys today. They don't do pills.
Right.
My day, everybody did, you know, and you know, again, today these guys they're not out partying all night long. I'm not saying they don't party, but not like we did. You know, they're playing video games or on computers, and you know, it's just a different generation. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for them because there's a lot of amazing athletes out there. You
so
know?
she ambushed you, basically.
Yeah. Again, but so nice before, Jim. Like,
so what do you do after the show? Like, what do you do once the segment's over and she goes, "Well, thank you, Dallas, for joining us."
You know, I don't remember what I said, but I know I said something in a way of like, "Go fuck yourself," but I didn't say that.
Right.
I said it very classically.
Language. This is my house.
So stupid.
I just knew, knowing the internet.
Yes.
I knew the fallout, what was about to come.
Right.
Because you remember, I went and did your show.
Oh, yeah.
Right after that.
You did. And you dropped the C-bomb on her.
What'd you say?
You know the C word. I'm not as mad today.
He goes like and he was like, I don't even want to talk about it because I remember you're like, Sam, I'll talk to you about it, but I'm not talking to anybody else about it after this.
And I didn't.
And you just and I didn't see it coming. But Dallas looks at me and he goes, Sam, I'll tell you, Nancy, she was a cunt. And I was like, yes.
I was so mad because, again, the fallout that came on the internet, and I was more worried and concerned with the family. Forget me, you know. I didn't want them to feel that, you know? And it was so. I saw his wife and his kids at. You know, they're the nicest people, man. You know, I always make sure I come. You know, the company brings me in for some signings and stuff every WrestleMania because it's such a spectacle. I love going. I love going to the Hall of Fame. I love going to the different events and stuff. I haven't been to the NXT shows, but this year I'm going because Triple H has really built that whole NXT brand.
Yeah.
And that's his baby, you know, and these kids that they got, what I love, and this is what was a part of our generation, especially with the whole NWO and the war and us at one time kicking WWE's ass.
Yeah.
I love the fan interaction. Like, I used to love to watch ECW because of the fans.
So even when you were wrestling, you were watching other wrestling.
Everything. I'll tell you a story about Triple H. I've told this before. Because I watched everything. When I first came up with the diamond cutter, it was given to me by Johnny Ace, and he did it with one arm. So I had to change it and do it with two and do it as a hold called the cravat. And
what is the diamond cut? I don't know what that is.
The diamond cutter is where I would get a guy's head, like right here, and then I just kick out. Now, you can go with me and we can dance together, or you can try not to go or hesitate. You're still going.
Right.
And I want to
So if there's resistance, you're getting your neck broken.
You're still going.
Yeah.
So Triple H was there that day when Johnny gave that to me, and then I started to take it out of nowhere. And people want to be surprised. And my finish, even if you're not a wrestling fan, because it came out of nowhere, the crowd would pop.
Right.
And Triple H was there today, and one day, because I watch everything, I see he did it to somebody. He had his own finish, the pedigree, which is amazing. But one day, because he does so many different moves and stuff and understands the psychology of business, he caught a diamond cutter out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, no, not him. Because he's the only guy who had, like, my work ethic. He's got an even sicker work ethic than I do. And I called him up. And he answered the phone. I was like, hey, Paulie, you know, hey, Dally, what are you doing? I said, I got a favor to ask. He goes, sure, what do you want? I said, no, don't say yes yet.
Yeah.
Don't say yes yet. I said, because I have no right to ask you. Because you're in two different federations. Each one could have the same move. Sting had the Scorpion Deathlock and
Sharpshooter.
Sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Sharpshooter.
When I wrestled, I did the chop like Chief Jay Strongbow.
You didn't do the claw?
No, I did the chop.
The chop, was that your finisher?
It certainly was.
That's a very weak finisher.
Hey, if the guy went down, that's all that matters. 1, 2, 3.
I guess so.
So, of course, you were bigger then, right?
I was much bigger, yes.
We used to do a lot of Bob Backlund knee walking.
I did, yeah.
So that lower leg strength.
That was only on dates, though.
So the bottom line is, I tell him, I say, you know, Paul, you got that great finish, you know, and really, all I got is this move. This is like what I got. It's like it's exploding my career. It's on the rise, and you know, and I really wish you wouldn't do it again. And he went, sure, Dave, and never did it again. So
you were like, dude, this is the only move I got. Don't do my move, please.
I had a bunch of
but
moves,
I did it. Like I figured it out. I made it a thing. Yeah. But now it's like it's kind of you know, RKO out of nowhere.
Right.
Is the big thing, and you just had the diamond cutter out of nowhere. It's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty similar.
How did people not fuck their neck up though when they landed on the ground with you like that, like with your arm under their neck?
Hopefully they kick out and they go and they dance with me. You know, it's like one of those things. Yo, the thing I mean, I actually called Randy. He didn't remember me doing it because he just got out of the hospital with shoulder surgery. But I had called him and I wanted Randy to do it because I love his work.
Randy Orton. Yeah.
I love his work in the ring, and I back then he was very young back then when I had called him. He was 22 or 23 at the time, and I love that he does it, and he's found new ways that I would thought, wow, that's amazing. How do you keep coming up with new ways? That I had 50 different ways into it. Now there's probably like 120.
Yeah. When did they start liking you at WWE? Because the thing was, DDP was a WCW guy. And like you said, WCW was kicking WWE's ass for a little bit, and because of that, there was a lot of tension. You know, Vince's business almost went under, and that's his whole livelihood in life.
Yeah.
But it seems like you're not treated like a WCW guy. You were brought in, and now they're doing documentaries, and now they're doing like they have you hosting other DVDs. Well,
it all started with that because they wanted me to be a color commentator at the end because I was really good at that, especially towards the end. And you have to be in it. I couldn't go back and do what I did 12 years ago as a color commentator because I'm not around it all the time. A repetition is the mother of learning. But back then, I was pretty good at it. And they asked me to do it, and I just needed to get away. I needed to get away from wrestling. And when I went away, I went away because no one had called me, nothing. And then about 6 years ago, I got a phone call, and they wanted me to do the very best of Nitro. And the original script that I read, I didn't call them back. And they called me, and they said, so, you know, did you get the script? I was like, yeah. He said, so what do you think? I said, I think you don't want me to do this. And they were like, no. We really want you to do this. And I said, well, I'm not going to say some of the things that you say. I get that history was written by the winners. I mean, I get that more than anybody.
Gotcha.
Right. So there was some things that were skewed certain ways.
So they're making it seem like, you know, Nitro was always this kind of little show over here, and DDP is there as opposed to something that actually beat them for a while.
Right. Yeah. I said, you saw when we beat your ass for 89 weeks, right? You saw that, like we trampled you. I said, so there's certain things I'm not going to say. And he goes, so change them. And I was like, really? Okay. And then I learned it from bell to bell. Me and a buddy of mine named Matt, who was really great kid and really understood the business. And I wanted what the fans wanted to hear. So Matt and I actually wrote my dialogue together. Mm-hmm. And we did it for all 3 Best of Nitros. And really, really sharp kid. Really sharp kid. Then came, you know, the show ups of Legends. I would be up on Legends for Raw once in a while.
Sure.
And then they brought me in for the what was the next thing that was really big? Oh yeah, the 1000th episode.
Yeah.
I just showed it up on your video screen. I was hitting Heath Slater, who's all over their TV right now.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a talent. I'm so happy that he's getting the opportunity because that's what it's all about. He put a lot of time in. Now he's getting the opportunity. But he took a beautiful diamond cutter for me, and the crowd, wow, you know. Next thing I know, I'm back there for old school Raw, and Triple H gives me a little infomercial in the back. You know, he's like, do that thing where you pull your foot over your head. You know, gets a huge.
They let him
pop
do
every
like
time.
They let DDP show up. You know how Vince likes to advertise his own stuff. You know, they let DDP show up and do a whole promo with his DDP yoga T-shirt on, doing yoga. Like he's basically just selling. It was like that in Shark Tank. I feel like made you a millionaire.
I'll tell you what happened. Not only that, but also Jake showed up that night. And no one had seen Jake on TV for 16 years because he was like baddish.
Yeah.
Because such, drugs, alcohol,
Sure.
all that, and he was a bad example. But now he was turning it around. So this was a big deal. That day, it blew our internet up for ddpyoga.com. It blew us up so much, it shut my site down. So when we did Shark Tank, we brought on 27 servers. So if one server started to get shut down, it go to the next server. That start to get shut down, go to the next server. We did $1 million in sales in 6 days. In 6 days. It was that strong. But back to WWE, then they brought me in for to be the, I'm thinking, well, of course I'm going to induct Jake. And then I realized when they called me to induct him, oh, wait a minute, this is their TV. That doesn't mean, just because Jake would have wanted me to do it doesn't mean
they still get to make the call.
It's their TV.
Yeah, yeah.
So they asked me to do that, which was huge. I got to induct Jake, and Scott went in on my 58th birthday, which was, was really, really cool. And then to come back, I never thought I'd ever be in a Rumble again. And then to be in a Rumble and hit 3 different diamond cutters for one of the top guys.
Yeah.
Throws me over the top. And then to wrestle at WrestleMania. I mean, I just walked up to Stephanie and Hunter, gave him a big hug. I said, thank you so much for the birthday present. And I would have done it for nothing.
Right.
Right. Because to be 60, and to be didn't go out and do that. The only other guy I know who's done that at that age is Ric Flair. Mm-hmm. And to be in the breath of Ric Flair at any moment, in our business, not many people have done what Ric Flair's done. I would say no one's done what Ric Flair's done. And so to be, he did it in his 60s, and for me to do it, that's pretty cool,
We got to get you out of here. But before you go, Joe in Maine wants to say something real quick. What's going on, Joe?
Diamond, you helped save my life. I was in rehab a couple months ago. Almost had liver failure. And then got out and then started doing DDP yoga. I'm down 70 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and the Jake interview helped me so much, that documentary you did. So I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for saying that, man. I'm glad to hear you're on the right track. That's awesome.
Thanks, Joe. If you have like a co-host, DDP, who's got like an annoying little paunch in his belly that he stares at sometimes during interviews and gets disgusted at,
yes.
Is that something you think DDP Yoga can take care of?
Well,
is it possible?
DDP Yoga is never set up as a weight loss program.
Uh-huh.
But I've had people lose literally hundreds of pounds because this is how I get your heart rate jacked up. And, I always say that most yogis are very namaste. DDP Yoga, way more T and A.
Okay.
A lot of tone and attitude. And it's a workout where you get your heart rate jacked up. It's more of a cardio thing to me than anything, and also breaks up scar tissue. So it gets you more flexible, makes you stronger. It's why I can do what I can do at 60 years old. And one thing I do want to leave you with here.
Yes.
Did you get a chance to see the DDP video wake up alarm clock yet?
I saw it, but Sam refused.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard about it.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Right now we've got about 10 alarms up there, and a lot of them are, inspirational, but there's some ones that are really funny. There's ones that are they're ridiculous, and all I'll say is Jake Roberts, DDP, tap dancing.
Oh my God! And is this on
Any if you've got an iPhone, you can go to iTunes. You get
on the app stores and stuff.
It's everywhere, and it's a free app.
All right, well, check it out. And when you do get it, make sure that you set it for AM, not PM.
Yeah,
you can go to ddpyoga.com. You can follow DDP at RealDDP. I hope this went better than the Nancy Grace interview.
yeah, it did. And one last thing, I can't believe I forgot it. DDP Yoga Now is now an app, and it's also everywhere. And it's got everything on it, from inspirational to food, cooking shows. Today's Motivational Monday, and I'm out of here right here. But Motivational Monday, I talk with Jake. I interviewed Jake where he is today. And for anybody who wants to see that, there's a free app on DDP Yoga Now, and then there's a subscription. But the free part has all the inspirational stuff and has that interview, guys. So check it out, Sembo. Great seeing you again, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Jim.